Hi, this is Yvonne Wade Sanchez with the League of Women Voters, Fort Bend again. And as a reminder, our league, the Fort Bend League, would like to do an educational series where we talk about the Fort Bend County Voter Administration website. We want people to become more familiar and use this very valuable, very good resource to help them understand or become more informed about local elections and state and national elections as well. This episode we're titling Early Voting Stats. So if you remember from the first episode, we talked about this URL, fortbendvotes.org. So it's an easy way, I'm going to put it here in the URL bar, an easy way to get to the Fort Bend County Voter Administration website, which is an excellent website. So we're going to select here under early voting. I'm specifically going to talk in this episode about early voting statistics. When you expand this or you access this page from, again, the Fort Bend County Voter Administration website, this is specifically information about the current election that's going on. This is the city MUD elections. These are the local elections that are happening on May 5th. There are two reports that you can look at, and they're both PDFs. And so you can look at the early voting by mail report. And so in Fort Bend County, I think actually in the state of Texas, if you are over 65 disabled or you will be out of the area during the period of the election, you can request a mail-in ballot. And I'm not going to talk about mail-in ballots in this episode. It's a little more complicated, but just understand that there are individuals in Texas who can request a mail-in ballot. So this report is going to be listed out by precinct. So again, in a future episode, we'll talk about precincts. I'm hoping that you understand or know what your precinct is. If not, we'll describe that a little bit later. But this report is broken down by precinct, so you can know, like for this first one, precinct 101001, 79 mail-in ballots were requested. Of those 79 mail-in ballots, 57 of those were returned to the Fort Bend County Voter Administration. So that's individual precincts. At the very bottom of the report, so if you scroll down on this PDF, it'll tell you the totals, right? So these are the totals for the entire county. So these are individuals who are eligible to vote in the May 5th election. So not all cities are holding elections in May 5th. Some cities, for example, I live in Weston Lakes. Weston Lakes will hold theirs in November. I think there are a few other cities that do their municipal elections in November, but there are a number of them that do them or hold them in May. So 4,349 individuals were eligible or had requested a mail-in ballot. Of those 4,394 people who requested a mail-in ballot, only, or up to, 2,472 of those ballots, mail-in ballots, were returned to the Fort Bend County Voter Administration office. So I could do the percentage, which I should have done. I think I did it earlier, but it's probably under 60% of those mail-in ballots were returned. So let's go back here again. And so we're going to go back to the website. So that was the first report, right? So that was the early voting by mail report. You also have, very interestingly, the early voting by personal appearance. So these are the people who either didn't qualify for mail-in ballots or chose not to use their mail-in ballots and decided to go to a physical location, a polling location, one of the open polling locations. And we talked about in an earlier episode, episode 1, how you find the open polling locations. But they decided to go to an actual polling location. And so the way this report, and this is specific to the May 5th election. This is the location, I'm calling it the location, or this is by site breakdown. So it'll tell you at the Beasley polling location, 58 people have cast a vote. And so early voting went on from April 23rd, 2018, all the way until May 1st of 2018. So at this Beasley location, 58 people cast a vote. At Chasewood, 472 people cast a vote, so on and so forth for the different locations. At the very bottom, you'll see a total. So there was a grand total of 6,994 voters, eligible voters, cast a vote in the May 5th election. And we'll post percentages, and so will the county, once this has been tallied. So, but again, this was the last day of early voting. So these are the totals for the entire time period that early voting was available to local citizens. The second page, so that was the first page. The second page of the report shows voter turnout by jurisdiction, correct? And so right now, in the May 5th election, different cities, not all cities, but different cities in Fort Bend are holding their municipal elections. So if you live in the city of Arcola, know that 63 people determined who will govern you based on the May 5th election. So same thing with Fulshear. So if you live in Fulshear, or if you live in the city county of Fulshear and you were eligible to vote in the election, 324 voters participated in that city of Fulshear election. One of the largest cities in our county is Sugar Land. I think the population is something like, I'll have to go back and verify. I'll do another video where I'll show you where to get the stats on the population. But I think it's close to 80,000. So of those 80,000 residents, which includes children, so that's not a good number to quote actually, but I'm not sure the exact number of registered voters. I'll show you how to find that in a later video as well. But of those registered voters, only 2,768 people participated in early voting. We still have election day to come. So these are the people who participated in early voting. So 2,768 people. And that's, again, one of the, I think it is the largest city in Fort Bend, actually. Okay, so that, again, episode 2 is talking about how to look up early voting stats. You can get those stats from the Fort Bend County Voter Administration website. Remember, fortbendvotes.org. You're going to click early voting. It's under voter information, so early voting stats. Those are the 2 PDFs that we went over. So if you have any questions, again, the League of Women Voters, Fort Bend specifically, we're a league at large. If you can contact us via social media through our Facebook page, which just search for League of Women Voters LWV Fort Bend. We also have a Twitter account. You obviously are aware of our YouTube video because you're watching this video now. And we also have a website. So if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions about future episodes, please contact us. Again, this is Yvonne Wade Sanchez with the League of Women Voters, Texas.